You know, sometimes I really wish I grew up with the PS2 more. Sure, I have some memories playing it as a little kid, especially in Mexico when I would visit my grandma's crib. I really only remember playing games like the Sega Genesis collection, Tekken 5, and some random ass FIFA game that I didn't even know how to play because I was just some dumbass little kid. That was really the only time I had some type of experience with the PS2, unfortunately. I would go pretty much unaware of just how good the PS2 game library is for years up until I had my Dell laptop where I realized I could emulate some older games on it. The first game I ended up emulating that was a PS2 game was Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne, as I was starting to get more into the Megami Tensei series. After finding and looking up some more games for the PS2, I ended up playing a lot more games centered around that console, like Silent Hill 2, 3, and 4, Devil May Cry 1 and 3, Manhunt, Persona 4, Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3, and so much more. It really lives up to the name of being the best console ever made, and has some of my favorite games I like to replay every once in a while. The console still holds up, like dead ass. Some of these games on the PS2 are better than some of the slop that has been put out by AAA studios right now. As of recently, I'm still finding new games to play, like I recently found a game that I found pretty interesting called Bujingai that I'm playing through right now that I might dedicate a video to for the channel. It's a really dope game, you should check it out. But I'm not making this video for those games. Instead, I want to talk about a little simple third-person shooter game called
Gungrave.
Before I get into the game, I just want to say I have a Patreon available and I would appreciate it if you subscribe to it. There's only one tier for $1 a month where you can get your name at the end of my videos and get early drafts of my videos. So, yeah, check that out. Anyways, I'm done shilling now. So, what is this game? I don't really think most of you know what Gungrave is or who it was made by, so let's start with that. Gungrave is a game made by Red Entertainment. They made some pretty obscure ass games like the aforementioned Bujingai. It was released back in 2002. Damn, bro, I wasn't even born yet. Holy shit. The concept for this game was created by a mangaka known as Yasuhiro Naitao, the creator of Trigun, which is a really good manga and has a great anime adaptation you should see. I'm usually not watching anime much since I feel like I've somewhat grown out of it, but Trigun is pretty cool, especially in its art, both in the anime and manga. It has an art style almost reminiscent of Daisuke Ishiwatari, who was the artist for the Guilty Gear games, having tattered clothes with sharp character designs. It was also in the sci-fi mafia type genre, which sounds pretty similar to Cowboy Bebop, and actually there was a band member of the Seatbelts who did the soundtrack for Cowboy Bebop to help compose for this game's soundtrack, and his name was Sueno Imahori. A lot of the music in the game has this really cool jazzy feel to it and adds to the atmosphere of the game, but I'm gonna delve into the soundtrack a little later into the video. The game aesthetically looks like how Guilty Gear would turn to the cel-shaded type of look back in 2014 with Xrd, but it also reminds me of Hellsing with its character designs and imagery, seeing the crosses and chains on our main character. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm a sucker for this type of art, bruh. Like, genuinely, this looks so damn good. I'm always gonna be preaching this, but cel-shaded games just have much more character than some games that are realistic or trying to be hyper-realistic. Shit like Jet Set Radio and Fury are games that are more elevated because of their style, and Gungrave has some good-ass style. But I'm not gonna get ahead of myself, so let's get into the story real quick. This is gonna be your only warning to play this game. Like, it's not even that long, it's only 2 hours, so please do yourself a favor and play this game, and also look up the manual for this game because you're gonna need it. I'll link it in the description below for those of you who plan to play it, so yeah. Gungrave is pretty damn simple on its story beats. You take control of this hulking mute guy named Grave, or full name, Beyond the Grave. His objective is to get revenge on this corrupt mafia group called the Syndicate, and the group was responsible for killing Grave. The people in the group are Harry McDowell, the new boss of the Syndicate who betrayed Grave in the past, Pound Max, a real funny depiction of a fat American businessman, Bunji Kugashira, a previous student of Grave, Bear Walken, a man who is mostly a robot, and Ballad Burlee, a tall man with traditional Chinese attire. We were brought back to life by Dr. T, a scientist who was originally a part of the Syndicate who decided to defect and help Grave. We also see this girl come into Dr. T's office at the beginning of the game who is holding Grave's arsenal on her. Her name is Mika. She arrives with this big ass box that apparently Grave knows how to open up. He suits up to start going after the Syndicate, and that's pretty much the setup for this game. The story is pretty fast and paced pretty well. The story progresses every level and doesn't add any lame ass filler in there, and always makes sure you're engaged. Like I mentioned before, Fury is a game that feels somewhat similar to this game, including to the story as well. Not to mention these are both boss rush type games with a story that is pretty simple to follow. I think now is a good time to get introduced to the gameplay and what it offers to the player. Gungrave has a simple gameplay formula in it that's really fun to use but takes a bit to master. A lot of the time you'll be spamming the square button while standing still to mow down enemies, since standing your ground is objectively better than moving and shooting in this game. Also, while you move with Grave, you're slow as hell, but you'll be needing to hold down the circle button to move, since without running with Grave, you'll just be a slow piece of shit, which makes sense thematically since he's a zombie, so... He's also able to dodge and evade attacks, which feels good when you've got enemies trying to shoot rockets at you and you're able to dodge them in time. He's also able to melee attack, where he does a spin attack with his coffin. It's pretty much a get off me attack, just like in most action games, but honestly it isn't that useful sometimes, since you're better off just blasting with your pistols, which are called Cerberus, which reminds me of Dante's Ivory and Ebony, or Alucard's Casul and Jackal. It's really dope. You also have this special attack that you can change throughout the game called the Demolition Shot. There's 4 that you can use, with the first one that you obtain being a missile attack called Death Blow, the next being a barrage of bullets or Bullet Dance, the second to last being a upgraded version of the first one called Hellhound Roar, and the last being Raging Inferno, which is a upgraded version of Bullet Dance. Combos, or I guess in this game, beats, are an important role in the gameplay. They let you charge up your demolition shot, and you have to save up that meter to use your demolition shot, or you can even use it to heal yourself. It also incentivizes you to play as stylish as you can, just like with the combo rank in DMC. The combat isn't really that complex, and it shows, but I like the combat specifically for that reason. Simplicity. When you actually get into boss fights, only one of them has a gimmick, which is Bunji, who gets behind walls and regens his health back. The fucking lame bastard. But all the other bosses are straightforward, and it's just some simple fun to go up against these guys. I think my favorite was either Bunji or Lee. They're pretty fast paced, and I fuck with their character designs a lot. While fighting the bosses, you can unleash a specific scene where Grave kills a boss when their health is low enough, and it's oozing with personality. Like, just look at this, bro. Another aspect I like in this game is the music for sure. The opening to the game has the song called Gunlock, which is really good, and just by that one song you can tell that the whole soundtrack is gonna be good, and it is. Going back to the aesthetics, I like the environment of the game. There's only 6 stages, technically 7 if you count the church you fight Bujin in. I think my favorite stage was stage 3, where you're busting some chops in Chinatown, and man, the environment just looks good, bro. The lighting in the area is really nice. Also, the little area where you go to meet up bear walking is cool as fuck too. Like, this just looks really nice. The game was based on John Woo films, which I'm not familiar with, and also had some inspiration from the film Desperado. Going back to the game, after defeating all prior bosses, we were at the last showdown with the man that had betrayed us, Harry McDowell. We get a flashback scene with what went down with Harry and Grave. Harry apparently had plans to kill their boss in order to take over the mafia group and have control over the city. Grave, or as it was revealed in this cutscene, his real name is Brandon, didn't like this idea and punched him. But ultimately, Harry saw him as nothing but a person with no more use and, well, he killed him. The last stage in the game, called Tower, is actually a departure of the earlier environments in the game. This time we go up into the sky, where we're on these white towers that look kind of like obelisks, and we also hear this creepy ass music in the back with the change of scenery. It was kind of unsettling for me, if I'm being honest. In the earlier stages, we were fighting normal people, but now we're up against these scary looking demons or something along those lines. I can't really tell what they are. It really just sets up how this game's world isn't what it seems to be at a normal glance. Once we get up to the top of the tower, we meet Harry and tells us,
Yo, Brandon. 相変わらずせっかちだな。久しぶりに二人っきりになれたってのに。二人で何でもやったな。見ろ、俺たちは世界の頂点に立っている。何でも自由だ。好きに奪えて、好きに与えられる。夢が叶ったんだぜ。なあ、ブランドン。お前死んでたんだっけな。忘れてたよ。そうだ、大事な人を紹介し忘れていた。ボスだ。死んだってのは嘘でね。時代に合わせてちょっと変わってもらったんだ。お前に会いたがってたぜ。楽しんでこい、ブランドン。
After that, we get into a boss fight with b.e.a.t, who was the original owner of the group, but Harry has made him into a gross-ass creature with like, damn, bro, why'd you do him so fucking dirty? Once his first phase is done, we have to kill this floating head, and once it's dead as hell, we see Harry one final time.
終わったか。やれよ、ブランドン。今度はお前の番だ。さあ。
The ending of Gungrave shows Mika and Grave on his motorcycle riding more into the city to who knows where, and in the background it plays Here Comes the Rain. Gungrave is a game I really like, more so than I thought I would. Its visuals, combat, atmosphere, and music are all great to me, and I wish they would have some type of remaster in the future for this game, but that feels highly unlikely. I might play the sequel of this game and see why it's so different looking than this game. I also found out that there's even an anime for Gungrave that's apparently really good, but I don't know if I really want to watch it. I don't know, I'll see. I'll see what's up later. Right now I'm working on a bigger video, as in my Persona 3 Fest video, that might take a while to release, but I've gotten all the footage for it and all I need to do is record voiceover and edit it. I am also currently playing God Hand and replaying Persona 2 Innocent Sin, and I plan to make videos on those games. So I've got a few videos planned out for the channel. I'm also open for any game recommendations of the PS2 era, so if you guys want me to play something, let me know. Maybe I might like it. Like I said earlier, I have my Patreon and other socials down in the description below, so if you guys want to see that, you guys can follow me. Anyways, I wanted to cover something like this cause damn, this game for real caught my attention and I loved playing it. I loved playing all 3 playthroughs of this game. If I could find something like this, like in the exact same style, I would be so down to try it. I don't really have anything else to say about this game, so thank you for watching the video, and I really hope that you guys can actually try out Gungrave for yourselves.